Charges for marrying three Florida women in 3 different counties at the same time. Tonight, those women are speaking out, saying the system that handles marriage licenses kept them in the dark.
There are no safeguards, and that I feel like that's part of where the system failed.
He took each one of us to a county over to get married in.
If the counties did talk, that would have saved me a lot of heartache, a lot of money, a lot of stress.
I-Team investigator Adam Walser breaks down how this could happen at a time when online records can be viewed with a few clicks of a mouse.
A wedding usually signifies a lifetime commitment between 2 people embarking on life's journey. But these 3 Florida women learned they were on the same journey with Henry Betsy Jr. at the same time. This is Henry's mugshot, which is the most recent and clear picture we have of him. Michelle married Henry in Hernando County in November 2022.
I met him on Match.com. We met in early November.
How soon did you marry Henry?
It was very short. It was very soon. It was within about 3 weeks span.
Henry was still married to Brandy, who married him in Manatee County that February. Brandy asked us not to show her face to protect her job.
I met him on a dating app. The first time I'd ever got on a dating app. He said all the right things.
When Brandy married Henry, he was still married to Tanya, who obtained a marriage license in Gadsden County in November 2020. Tanya asked us to blur her face because she's a domestic violence survivor.
Meeting him on a dating site and the way he portrayed himself, he sold the perfect person when in reality he was none of those things.
I, Mr. Betsy, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to affirm any testimony you are giving the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes, sir.
Michelle gave us cell phone videos of court hearings. Henry Betsy Jr. was arrested for felony bigamy last year after Tanya figured out she wasn't his only wife.
I just started county by county putting his name in, and that's when I came up with the marriage to Michelle and the marriage to Brandy.
She found me and she messaged me, and I had no idea that she was actually still married to him.
I'm just looking because it's so bizarre. We never get discharged.
The wives say marrying Henry was easy.
You go to the records division, you apply for a marriage license, they take your information, they take a copy of your photo ID, and we got married right there at the courthouse. No questions asked. There was nothing that was flagged in the system for him having already 2 prior open marriage license.
I did the paperwork and got married all within 15 minutes.
In Pinellas County, 2,000 people get married at courthouses each year. There is a 72-hour waiting period for Florida residents, but that can be waived by a judge, and there is no required wait for people from other states. Pinellas County Clerk Kim Burke says Florida makes it easy to get married because the state is a big wedding destination.
Does it surprise you that someone was able to be married to 3 different people in 3 different Florida counties at the same time?
Well, it does surprise.
This place is a fucking joke. Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Those in the gospel broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is going to be a quick lesson, not long at all. But I can't wait for this. This was actually sent in a group chat by one of the brothers, man. And dude basically gets locked up. Florida Jake gets locked up because he has 3 different wives in 3 different counties. Like, big fucking deal. You know, and this is one reason why marriage license and shit was put into place. I believe like during the time, I won't say during the time of, it may have been, hold on, let me double look that up. Because I remember I done some research on this a while ago. But when was the Marriage License Institute? Let me see. 17th century. Okay, I was going to say during the time of slavery. Marriage license began to be required in the 17th century, specifically colonial Massachusetts. They were required as early as 1639 to practice that gradually spread to other jurisdictions. And a lot of it was because a lot of them Jakes, man, you know, Jake was popping out kids like sunflower seeds, man. You know, like you spit out them shells and shit. And on top of that, Jake was popping a lot of them Edomite women, so they delegated these marriage license in order to pretty much have a control on what Jake did with his rod. And then they have a term which is called bigamy, which is basically when a man has more than one wife or has more than one marriage, or a woman as well. But in this case, this Jake is facing felony bigamy, which this shouldn't even be a charge. Like, the fact he got 3 wives, I mean, right there, it betters the statistic of single women and women having kids out of wedlock. But see, Esau, he wants to control what Jake do with his rod, because ultimately, you know, they want to stop Jake from procreating. And the fact that Jake married 3 Edomite women, Esau ain't having that shit. So he'd rather lock you up for having more than one wife, which is completely lawful according to the Bible. But yet a woman can sleep with as many men as she wants. You know, like they may say they have things on prostitution, but in certain states, prostitution is legal. You know, and she's able to fucking freak off as much as she want. But when it comes to her being tied down to one man, then all of a sudden it's a crime. That's why this place is fucking joke. This place got to burn, man. All right. Your Most High never charged us with no goddamn bigamy. Now, I guess when, what was it? The woman at the well, if I'm not mistaken, when the Lord was like, go get your husband. And she said, but I'm not married. And he said, thou hast said that I have no husband, but thou hast 5 husbands. So I guess Yahweh Shai charged her with bigamy as well. You know, which basically she was a whore. That was just a whore move. You know, being with more than one man and jumping rod to rod, which 99.5% of these women do, by the way. They get with one guy, then when that goes sour, they on to the next sucker that's gonna simp and salivate at their feet until that shit gets dry, man. You know, but this is a fucking joke. Nigga going to jail because he has 3 wives in 3 different counties. Big fucking deal. So what? Like, what's the crime in that, man? And the crazy part about it is, you got these raggedy ass women talking about, oh, well, you know, he's just not the person who I thought he was. He said all the right things. But bitch, you on a fucking dating app. And the fact that you're on a dating app shows you right there that you've been around the block a couple of times, man. All right, a dating app. Dating apps usually, you know, most men that go on dating apps, they're just looking to get some pussy, or they just looking to fuck with people and just talk shit to people. You know, most of these women on dating apps, they looking to get men for money, whoever's going to provide their lifestyle. But most of them are ran through divorce, probably still in marriages. But yet they're casting judgment on him because he got 3 wives. But that's not illegal according to the scriptures, man. Like maybe a son, I don't know. It's like I was looking at my neighbor come in, and I got a couple of different neighbors, man. Old Edomite chicks, but they come in and out of this building with different dudes all the damn time. And nobody's saying anything about that. But anyway, let's get a couple of pre-sales, because this kingdom is a fucking joke. But it says bigamy, a state of having 2 wives or husbands at the same time. Okay, that's called polygyny. Okay, when a man takes on more than one wife. I mean, that's biblical. And people may say, well, we don't do that no more. Well, that's the problem. Y'all don't do it anymore because that's why your societies are so out of order. This is why the disease rates are overly, this is why the disease is out of whack. This is why you have more women that have children than with fathers, man. Like, it's common they say 55% of black women have babies and it's not with the father or out of wedlock. 55% of women that have kids are single mothers. Why is that? Because Esau don't allow the man to put order or establish order in his household. So therefore he gets her pregnant. She becomes a demon. He runs out or leaves. And then she gets with another nigga and play, rinse, repeat. Same thing. You know? Anyway, Matthew 12. And I'm going to start at verses 29. Matter of fact, let's start at verses 29. Point is in 29. It says, or else how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. And this is the reason why our nation is all fucked up, man. We've been completely overthrown with the rudiments of Esau, Edom, and this was all done by design to destroy our people. You know, like the simple solution to not having babies out of wedlock into having women in order is for women to be promised often to men. But the fathers are not around because whatever them and the mother go through. Then if a man was able to take on more than one wife and do it the right way, he can father 5 or 6 different kids from 2 women and they will all have one father. But instead, you create so much of a dissension inside the households to the point they break up. She has 2 kids by him and then she gets pregnant by 3 different niggas. Now that's 5 different kids right there. 2 with one dude, 3 with 3 different dudes, man. That ain't nothing but fucking confusion. And that's what this nigga wants. He wants confusion. Because I know where in hell that these old hags should be confirmed. Oh my God, he's not the person I thought he was. These are old Edomite bitches that's on a fucking day now. Like, you're over 40, 50 years old. You 50 plus years old. What the fuck are you doing on a day nap, man? So this place is just a fucking joke. You can't even take it serious at this point. But it's comical nonetheless.
It's me, but unfortunately, there's not really safeguards to find that out.
Burke says marriage
And these are the people that write your laws. Like these are the people that enforces the laws behind you. A bunch of debased, no beard having, moralists, just a bunch of base men. Moralists, no integrity, bunch of baby murderers and baby grapists, body snatchers, soul stealers as men that write your fucking laws. And these are the men that have ultimate authority. Look at this dude, bro. You think this guy's the upright of morality? Like he's just the epitome of morality, right? He's just the face of righteousness. And this man probably got more skeletons in his backyard than a fucking graveyard, man. But these are the people that we got to go before and plead our cause and plead our innocence to. That's why the Most High got to fuck these devils up, man. For real. Okay? The world has seen enough of your bigotry, your wickedness. The world has seen enough of you people. Tired of looking at you damn Edomites, man.
People in 3 different Florida counties at the same time.
Well, it does surprise me, but unfortunately, there's not really safeguards to find that out.
Burke says marriage applications are based on the honor system.
They swear that the information on the application is correct. And
where in the Bible that says I got to fill out a fucking application to prove I'm married? Get the fuck out of here, man. Micah 2:1, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. This is wickedness, man. I should know man get locked up for having more than... Ask her how many men has she laid down with and ask her that and arrest her ass for that. I guarantee you, if she was to tell you how many men she dealt with, okay, without lying, because they all lie about it anyway. But if you just so happens to look inside her mind and see that 300 men she done slept with in a span of 5 years, why won't you arrest her for that? Because according to the Bible, sex is marriage, right? Why ain't she getting locked up for being a whore? Because you know she's not a virgin. It ain't like these women were righteous. It ain't like they were like they flower with it. You know, they're not virgins. But it says they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Yeah, the power in that pen. They come up with these rhetorical ass laws and they trap Jake up in the web, man. And you stupid Jakes fall for it every time. And it says, and they cover fields and take them by violence in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage, man. And if this is not oppression, you know, even though Jake could have been scheming on these women, but then again, let's just say if he really liked them, why is he getting locked up for marrying with her? How can you get locked up for bigamy, man? That's not even a fucking real thing. Wow.
one of the things they have to show is that if they were married previously, how did the marriage end? Either was death, divorce, or annulment.
But licenses and marriage certificates aren't compared to documents in other counties when they're sent to the state.
Because if there were safeguards in place and there was cross-referencing on different counties here in the state of Florida, none of this would have ever happened.
His wives, who met Henry on Match, Tinder, and Stir, recently found his profile on another dating site while he was still legally married to them.
Looking for a beautiful woman that understands the ups and downs of life, is trustworthy, and no games.
His wives say they later came to believe their marriages had more to do with money than love.
Because marriage is ultimately a business contract between the woman, the man, and the state. And oftentimes, the man is hung on a line for the money. So it's a business transaction. That's what it is. It's a business contract. It's not about actually being together and building a bond, because the thing between men and women, that's among them. The man marries his wife And then she helps him build his legacy through his seeds, his children, his business, whatever they need is among them. All right. But Esau has totally monetized everything. And this is the reason why divorce, it costs a lot. It costs more money to divorce than to get married, man. All right. Because it's literally a business contract. They rather for you to have one man, one woman type shit. And that shit don't work, man. You know, but that's Esau's way of controlling population, because ultimately he know how Jake gets down. You know, hey, going back into Egypt, that's why Pharaoh was like, look, man, we got to put a stop to these men because they're going to multiply unless they overtake us and they overpower us, man. So if Esau can, if he can control the narrative as far as Jake dealing with one woman and destroying his mind to believe that his life is supposed to be dedicated to that one individual, he could totally cut Jake's population down in half. Because the whole thing about polygyny is to build your empire. And Esau don't want Jake doing that because he knows our history, man. Okay? Now, this is the book of Genesis 24. And I'm going to start at 62. And it says here, Isaac came from the way of the well, Lahaori, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and she covered herself. I mean, she was shamefaced to the point she covered herself, man. But the average woman today, she goes down an aisle, she's naked, cleavage is showing, she's twerking. And then you got a bunch of other crows out there, a bunch of other hyenas, loud and jumping around, you know, and commanding her, when technically marriage is supposed to be the celebratory of the men and bringing the households together. But in this society, because they believe in romance, which goes back into Rome, they totally elevate the woman. They make it her day when it's really about the man. And it says, and the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah. And she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So what do you think that meant? Okay, it wasn't no preacher. It wasn't no fucking ring. It was none of that. But he basically took her in there, and he had sex to her. You know, he had sex with her. He made love to her. Simple. She's his wife. There was no preacher. There was no fucking marriage certificates. There was no rings. All right, there was no state involved. You know, now among the families, you did have a bill of marriage that you did write up among the family, among the men. But that was even among themselves. It didn't go through a government institution. That was among them. You know, just like a contract of the hood. This is your wife, X, Y, and Z. And ultimately, the tokens of her virginity is basically the contract of marriage, man. That she was a virgin. But you ain't marrying virgins here. You're marrying a bunch of women that's used up. And then you got the audacity to venerate these fucking women, man. It's crazy. Let's look this up, man. Let's do wives. Do a little quick search on this. Because like I said, this kingdom is a total joke. Anybody that really still believes in this American shit, this is a joke. This place got to be destroyed, man. Point blank, period. Deuteronomy 215. It says, if a man have two wives, which shows you having other wives are lawful. Here they push, oh, nah, that's wrong. You're hurting her. You're abusing her. No, you were brainwashed, man. That's not our problem that we've come back into the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Now we have to suffer because of the brainwashing that these people underwent based on this wicked system. And in the spirit, the woman already know that a man's supposed to have more than one wife, man, if he so chooses. But see, they've been brainwashed and totally poisoned in the mind to push that bullshit on Jake, man. And that Jake really feels some type of way if he's out there stepping out with his other woman. Like, you got to fucking tuck tail and you got to hide that you got another bitch on the side. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. All because you got to spare her fucking feelings because she's bought into the fucking lie. You know? Just because you have another wife on the side doesn't take away the duties or doesn't take away your feelings from your first wife. And that's what you women don't understand. That's why the niggas that you deal with, what you say, oh, he's cheating on me. This is why they do it, because it's in their nature to do it. And he's not cheating on you. Okay, he's just dealing with his other women, which he has every right to do that because a Jake male has so much testosterone and his ball sack to the point. That's just how we're wired. That's just how men are wired. Even Esau is wired to have multiple wives, but instead he'd rather deal with little boys. Okay? He'd rather deal with little boys. Or he'd rather pass laws giving homosexuals rights to marry other men. You know? A man can marry a man. A woman can marry a goddamn train station. A woman can marry a damn dog. But if a man have 2 wives, they charge him with bigotry. This is why we tell you that this system is totally set up to castrate the man, especially the Israelite man. This system is set up to castrate you, man. You can't do shit. You can't discipline your women. You can't put your kids in order. Okay, you don't have a right to stand up for yourself. You don't have a right to defend yourself. You don't have a right to be a man. Literally, being a man in this system is a crime, man. You speak up with authority, any type of masculinity, people are fucking offended. This place needs nothing less than fire. And it says, one beloved and the other hated, and they have borne him, both the beloved and the hated. And if the firstborn son be ours that was hated, blase, blase, right? But the point is, if a man have 2 wives, man. It says Gideon had 70 judges, 8 and 30. And Gideon had 10 sons, which is 70, of his body, and begotten, for he had many wives and concubines, man. I forgot what king that was, but I think he had like, see if I can find it real quick. There was another king that had, was it Rehoboam, if I'm not mistaken? I can't recall, but I mean, he had, Solomon, 700 wives, 300 concubines. Assured the father Tekoa had 2 wives, Hela and Ara. It says, and Jehoiada had took 2 wives and begot sons and daughters. So it was common that men had multiple wives. I mean, that was just part of our culture. Hell, Ishmael still do it in the Middle East. You got other cultures that still push polygamous polygynous practices, man. Because that's just normal. That's just the way life. That's the way the Most High intended it. Be fruitful and multiply, man. This man wants to take away the very essence of life. Like, who the fuck wants to be tied down by one old bitter bitch their whole fucking life, bro? She gets old and wrinkled, you know, and then they expect for you to get a woman that's all washed up and used up. And I'm going to tell you something. Older women, man, they don't have any vigor to them like that. Like, they just sit back. They have no sensation. They're not even a turn on unless you're just extremely horny. They just really not a turn on. You know why? Because they've been fucking ran through. And you got some women out there, you know, that's body sensitive. But most chicks, bro, you touch on them and shit like that, they have no type of vigor about them. They have no life. They just land there. They don't even make noise. They just sit there. That shit is like, because they've been ran through, they so desensitized to the point, nothing really gets them going anymore. And as a man, that turns you off. I just can't sit there and be rubbing on some bitch and she's not getting an effect from it. I don't even get up for shit like that. You know, not to give you any too much TMI, no, not too much information, but it's just the truth. No man like a old used up bitch that can't get turned on. You just there because you so used to many men going inside you. You know, the shit gets boring. It's old. It's stale. This is why you're supposed to have young wives, man. Younger women. You know, women that ain't been touched by anybody. Women that you can actually leave an impression on. Brothers know what I'm talking about, man. You know, here she gets menopause and she's on her time of the month. And then all of a sudden you got to be sitting here stuck with this nigga for 7 days while she's bleeding. And yet you're horny, you burning, and you can't do shit. And the women think that shit is normal. No, bro, that shit is not normal. And that's why a lot of women can't get with this truth, man, because they don't like that fact. But that's just how it is, man. If you don't like it, oh well. The nigga you sleeping with, the nigga you think is your boyfriend, he got other bitches. He got baby mamas, he's still popping. Your dumb ass just don't know because you want to believe in this whole monogamous bullshit. Monogamy is a fucking joke. All right? And I'm not telling brothers to go out there and court multiple wives to themselves. I mean, it'd be wise if you don't do it. But reality of it is you don't have to have your fucking dick in your pocket just because the society tells you so. Because this Jake dude, they gonna physically castrate this nigga, man. Because it's all a money-making racket. Let's go from here to... Damn, I lost my place. I lost my train of thought. But let's go back to this Micah 2. Because it's more on this. Because this is not our rest. Going down to verses 10, it says, Arise and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you with the sword of destruction. So it's all... this whole place is just a big booby trap to castrate you Jake males. Okay, this society is not for us, man. Definitely not the men in the Lord. And this is why we're praying for a more righteous society, a new heaven, a new earth. You know, I'm getting locked up for bigotry, but yet you got all types of sexual predators out here preying on kids, and the FBI is turning a blind eye to that shit. But I get locked up because I married 3 white bitches. Like, get the fuck out of here. Make that shit make sense. You Edomites, man. I can't wait till we able to put our foot up your fucking ass, man. And anybody that think like you, they gonna fucking die with you. It's madness, bro. And I ended after this. Isaiah 29:15. And it reads, Woe to them that seek deep to hide thy counsel from the Lord, and thy works are in the dark. And they say, Who seeth this and knoweth this? Right, you know, with Esau with his secret councils and his fraternities and, you know, his secret cabals. They all conjure up wickedness. They have think tanks, and they sit back and they incorporate laws like this to trap up our people. And it says, Surely your turning of things upside down should be esteemed as the potter's clay. It says, For sure the work of him that made it. it says, For sure the work say of him that made it, he made me not. Or should a thing framed of him that framed it, he have no understanding? You know, because literally he's going against everything that the Most High sets up. The Most High sets it up this way. He wants to go that way and flip it up. The Lord said that man and woman supposed to be together. And then this dude comes and say 2 men could get married, 2 women could get married, or a bitch could marry a chick literally married a tree. Like, how the hell can you marry a fucking tree? Like, are you getting penetrated by the tree? Is the tree taking the tokens of your virginity? Because if it is, then we have a true problem here. And this is the reason why mental illness is at an all-time high in this place, man. You know? Man, woman, asunder. Matthew 19:6. Let's start at verses 3. And it says, And the Pharisees came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered them and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? And said, For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall become one flesh. And it's because you put your vibration on it. But you could become one flesh with multiple women, because you may love this wife different than you love that one. You may love her for this. You may love her for that. You know what I'm saying? But see, a chick could take the see, he only said 1 woman per man. No, dumbass, that don't even fucking make sense. Because if that were physically or humanly possible, why do you outnumber us 7-1? Like, out of 8 billion people on this planet, roughly 7.5, maybe 7 billion of them are women, man. 6.5 billion are mainly women. Okay, y'all outnumber us 10-1, to be honest with you. So if we had 1 billion men per 1 billion women out of 8 billion people, that's 2 billion people. So we got 6 billion people. Just say if you had 1 billion men on the planet total, and you had 7 billion women on the planet total, and that 1 billion man give it to 1 billion women, that's gonna leave roughly 6 billion women without child, without marriage. And what's gonna happen? The women gonna find a way to deal with the billion men, because they ain't gonna go without. That's why certain chicks, they beat a side chick. They don't care, because at the end of the day, they know, like, look, I just want a man. And they know that shit. But pride. All right. And it says, wherever they are no more in twain, but one flesh. But what therefore Yahweh have joined together, let no man put asunder. So right there, it tells you that ain't none of nobody's fucking business. You get a wife, that's your thing. Okay, the government don't have a right to come in and tell you how many women you can deal with or how to run your household. But unfortunately, this is the land of our captivity, and we're subjected into the laws of this wicked land. And this is why we tell you, brothers, if you can avoid it of all costs, do not get married on paper. All right, if she can't accept the fact that you are her wife through the act of sex and, you know, how y'all feel and just y'all connection, and you're taking her on as a wife, then she ain't right, man. If she needs a paper to prove that you love her, and exceptionally, you're going to do the same shit on paper or off paper. You're going to do the same shit. You're going to eat, sleep, shit, fuck, go out, have kids. You're going to do the same goddamn thing. But if she feel like you need to incorporate the state into your affairs, then that woman ain't right. And with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you were edified. Until the next lesson. Shalom.
The day we got married, he was like, well, we need to make your bank account a joint bank account.
We were either divorced or about to be divorced, maybe coming into something.
Child support, alimony, anything that comes with, you know, the extra perks of marrying a newly single divorced woman.
So he hit the jackpot here.
He did, 100%.
Henry's financial situation appears to have taken a turn for the worse.
Do you have any source of income presently?
No, at the moment, sir.
Do you have any money in the bank?
No, sir.
Michelle and Tanya say they escaped their marriage and obtained domestic violence orders after Henry became abusive. Brandy says she kicked Henry out of her house after just 5 days of marriage. Henry finally filed for divorce from Tanya following his arrest and is now seeking annulment for his marriages to Michelle and Brandy.
Do you think there's any need to do anything else to prevent this type of thing?
I just think it's too hard. I mean, as much as we have records and so forth, you know, people are very transient. You can get divorced in another state.
Henry's wives are hoping he'll be convicted and spend time behind bars.
It's a potential that he may just walk away with probation, and that's what's really hurtful, is there's no accountability. There's nothing that is going to stop him from doing this again.
Henry Betsy Jr. has pleaded not guilty to the felony bigamy charge and has another court hearing later this month. We reached out to him, but he declined through his attorney to comment. My team